What if the moments that nearly break you are the very moments that are meant to remake you? Why do some people rise from devastation, while others remain shattered forever? Could your lowest point secretly hold the blueprint for your strongest self? Life often feels like an unending storm, waves of chaos, setbacks, and emotional upheaval crashing against you without warning. There will be days when everything you've built with effort and faith begins to collapse before your eyes. Dreams dissolve, carefully crafted plans disintegrate, and some losses feel so devastating they bring you to your knees. But one unshakable truth remains: it's not about how many times you fall, what matters is whether you choose to rise again. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote isn't just wisdom from centuries ago, it's a compass for every moment when life breaks you. Because when suffering arrives, and it will, it's not the end. It's an invitation to rebirth. Life may tear you apart, but within those very fragments lies the raw material to reconstruct a stronger, wiser, more resilient you. And here's the key: this transformation doesn't begin with what happens to you, it begins with how you interpret it. Loss, failure, betrayal, pain, each one of these can be a stepping stone toward your personal growth if you're willing to shift your perspective. Rebuilding yourself isn't some lofty ideal, reserved for the lucky or the brave, it's a necessity for all of us. It begins with a decision. A decision to face the truth. Yes, you've been hurt. You've failed. You've stumbled and felt pain that still lingers. But until you confront that truth without flinching, until you look into your own eyes in the mirror and admit, "Yes, I have fallen," you cannot begin the work of rising. And yet, here you are. Still standing. Still breathing. And as long as you are still here, you have the strength to rebuild. So where do you begin? First, with clarity. A clear vision. Just as no architect would begin rebuilding without inspecting the foundation, neither can you start again without recognizing where the damage lies. Your pain, your past mistakes, they are not dead ends. They are puzzle pieces of your future strength. The Stoics remind us that suffering is not something to be avoided. It is an inevitable part of living. But the power lies not in what happens to us, but in how we choose to respond. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Let go of resentment. Accept reality, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way forward. Picture yourself as a ship at sea. Without a compass, without a destination, you drift, pushed around by the currents, unsure of where you're headed. Rebuilding begins the moment you choose a direction. And the first step is always inward. And in the next part, we'll explore how to create that inner compass, how to build a vision rooted in truth, not fear. A life without vision is like a ship drifting in open waters, no compass, no destination, just responding to every passing wave. Without vision, we move through life aimlessly, easily swayed by external noise and unexpected storms. But vision isn't just a fantasy or a daydream, it's a compass for the soul. It's the internal clarity that shows you where you're headed and why it matters. Vision gives your life direction. It's the silent force that pulls you forward when motivation fades and obstacles multiply. When the world feels chaotic, vision steadies you. It's the flame that keeps your spirit alive even in the darkest seasons. A person with vision doesn't move just to stay busy, they act with purpose. They don't let the world decide for them. In contrast, someone without direction becomes a passenger in their own life, letting circumstances choose the route. So ask yourself this: what do I truly want? But don't rush to answer. Sit with that question. Let it echo inside you. Your vision must come from within, not from society's expectations, not from your parents' hopes, not from what looks good on social media. It must be your own. Because only then will it have the power to sustain you. Anyone seeking true transformation must begin with a vivid picture of who they wish to become. Not a vague idea, but a detailed, living image. Picture your best self. What are you doing each day? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Who surrounds you, supports you, inspires you? What kind of environment are you in? When that picture becomes clear, so do your priorities. But here's a truth too many overlook: a vision without consistent action is just an illusion. Once you've uncovered your purpose, you must commit. Not with grand gestures, but with small, intentional steps. Write down your vision. Speak it aloud. Remind yourself every single day. Align your choices, no matter how small, with that vision, whether it's what you eat, how you spend your time, or the thoughts you allow into your mind. Imagine a sculptor standing in front of a rough block of stone. They don't create the masterpiece in one strike. Instead, they chip away, patiently, persistently, until the form hidden within is revealed. That's how you shape yourself into the person you're meant to be. Of course, the road won't be easy. No dream worth pursuing ever is. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when shortcuts tempt you, when your progress feels invisible. The soreness after the first workout, the pull of junk food, the lure of staying in bed instead of rising early, all of these are tests. How much do you want the life you say you desire? Because the truth is, challenges aren't obstacles. They're checkpoints. They ask you, is this really what you want? And if your vision is strong enough, your answer will always be yes. Failure? It's not the end. It's simply a redirection. A lesson. A refinement of your path. For example, if you say you want a fit and energized body, but have no vision of what that looks and feels like, you'll give up the moment things get hard. The burn after that first workout, the pull of convenience over commitment, it'll all be too easy to abandon. So how do we turn fleeting motivation into unwavering discipline? We'll dive into the daily mindset and habits that bring your vision to life, brick by brick. But when you can clearly visualize the strongest version of yourself, a body full of energy, a mind sharp as a blade, and a life driven by purpose, everything begins to change. That image becomes your inner compass. Suddenly, your decisions start to align with your future, not your past. You begin to prioritize movement. You gravitate toward nourishing food. You catch yourself before slipping into old, destructive habits. Why? Because now your actions are tethered to something bigger, your vision. It's this clarity that keeps you grounded when life gets messy. People who have a clear vision don't let circumstances define their direction. They don't bow to fear. They wake up with intention. Even when it's hard, they act, not because they feel like it, but because they know where they're going. Meanwhile, those without vision, they're at the mercy of every mood, distraction, or social pressure. They react to life instead of creating it. But here's something important: your vision doesn't have to stay fixed forever. Life evolves, and so can your path. Adjusting your vision doesn't mean you've failed, it means you're growing. Just as a sailor corrects course to stay aligned with the stars, you refine your vision to stay true to your deeper self. What matters is that something inside you is always pulling you forward. So, if you're serious about rebuilding yourself, start here: create a clear, powerful vision. Without it, you'll drift aimlessly. But with it, you'll turn every obstacle into an opportunity. Ask yourself, who do I want to become? What does that version of me look like, feel like, live like? Don't rush the answers. Let them take root. Then begin. You don't need to change everything at once, just take one intentional step each day. That's how transformation happens. And once your vision is clear, what's next? Step 2, surround yourself with the right people. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Humans are not designed to exist in isolation. The environment we live in and the people we interact with each day, whether we realize it or not, shape our beliefs, our mindset, and ultimately, our future. When you're trying to rebuild yourself, waiting around for motivation is a losing game. Motivation is like a spark, bright and exciting, but fleeting. It fades with the first gust of resistance. Discipline, on the other hand, is a fire you choose to feed daily. And nothing fuels, or extinguishes, that fire faster than your circle. So pause and reflect, who are the people around you? Do they inspire you? Challenge you? Elevate you? Or are you surrounded by voices that normalize procrastination, excuse failure, and embrace fear? Arnold Schwarzenegger once made a bold decision. As a young man, he left Austria chasing a dream, to become the greatest bodybuilder in the world. He didn't just focus on his training. He deliberately chose to surround himself with ambitious people who shared his drive, people who wouldn't let him settle for average. We'll dig deeper into how your environment shapes your habits, and how choosing the right people may be the most powerful decision you ever make. When Arnold Schwarzenegger arrived in the United States, he didn't leave success up to chance. He didn't just look for good gyms or famous coaches, he sought out discipline, drive, and mental strength in the people around him. He deliberately surrounded himself with others who shared his intensity and ambition. He trained with legends. He lived with people who had dreams just as bold as his own. And in doing so, he didn't just sculpt his body, he shaped his mind. Arnold understood something that many overlook: who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you do. Would he have become a legend if he had chosen to live among people who made excuses, who never pushed themselves, who feared discomfort? Highly unlikely. Even the strongest minds are vulnerable to their environment. If you're constantly surrounded by people who complain, procrastinate, or refuse to challenge themselves, their mindset will begin to seep into yours. Over time, negativity becomes normalized. Excuses become acceptable. Your standards begin to shrink. But the reverse is also true. Surround yourself with those who aim higher, who refuse to settle for mediocrity, and you will rise to meet them. Their habits will challenge you. Their discipline will inspire you. You'll be pushed to elevate your thinking just to keep up. So pause and ask yourself: does my closest friend help me grow? Do my daily conversations lift me up or weigh me down? Are the people I spend time with fueling my vision or fogging it? You don't always have the power to change your environment overnight, but you do have the power to choose what you expose yourself to. If your current surroundings limit your growth, start making small shifts. Spend less time with those who drain your energy, and more with those who sharpen your focus, even if it's through a screen or a book. Read biographies of great minds. Listen to podcasts from disciplined leaders. Join online or local communities that share your goals and values. The influence doesn't have to be in person to be powerful. And remember, it's not just about people. Your habits, your digital environment, even the content you consume daily all shape who you're becoming. You say you want to build discipline, but do you spend hours each day, lost in mindless scrolling? Do you crave growth while binging videos that offer none? Every input has an impact. You are a product of what you absorb. Every scroll, every conversation, every habit either brings you closer to your highest self or pulls you away from it. That's why you must eliminate distractions, and design an environment that supports your transformation. An environment that nurtures your discipline, your drive, and your clarity. Because here's the truth: no one can change your life except you. But you cannot become a better version of yourself while clinging to the same environment, the same people, and the same mindset that created the old you. If you want to reinvent yourself, begin by choosing your companions with care. Now that you've seen how powerful your environment can be, let's go deeper. We'll uncover how to train unshakable discipline, the kind that endures even when motivation disappears. Are you ready? Let's continue. Step 3: Develop discipline over motivation. There's a simple, life-altering truth that many people overlook: no one can change your life except you. Motivation is fleeting. It may spark action, but it rarely sustains it. Discipline, on the other hand, is the engine that drives transformation, especially when things get tough, and the initial excitement fades. When life doesn't go as planned, it's tempting to point fingers at circumstances, bad luck, or other people. But take a moment and ask yourself honestly. Has making excuses ever gotten you closer to your goals? Of course not. Excuses are just comfortable lies we tell ourselves to avoid discomfort. The moment you take full ownership of your life, is the moment everything changes. There's no one left to blame. No more time to waste. Just the path ahead, and your willingness to walk it. Whether you succeed, grow, or stay stuck isn't determined by chance. It's determined by your choices, your habits, and your discipline. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom doesn't come from status, wealth, or perfect conditions. It comes from self-mastery, from the ability to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions regardless of what's happening around you. And the road to that freedom is paved with discipline. Think about it. How many mornings have you woken up feeling on fire, only to lose that spark by midday? How many goals have you set, only to abandon them within a few days, because the motivation disappeared? Motivation is emotional. It's inconsistent. It rises and falls with your mood, your energy, or even the weather. But discipline? Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It demands that you show up anyway. It's discipline that makes you get out of bed when it's cold. Discipline that keeps you focused when distractions are everywhere. Discipline that pushes you forward when no one else is watching. Those who achieve extraordinary things in life understand this. They don't wait to feel like it. They build systems. They honor their commitments. They act consistently, even when it's hard. Take David Goggins, for example. Once an overweight, uninspired young man with a traumatic past, Goggins could have easily become a prisoner of his circumstances. He came from violence, poverty, and pain. But instead of using that as an excuse, he made a decision to change. And he didn't lean on motivation to do it. He knew that motivation would betray him when things got uncomfortable. So he built something stronger, discipline. He trained in the rain. He ran when he was tired. He woke up at 4 a.m. to push his limits daily, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Through unwavering discipline, he reshaped not only his body but his entire identity. Goggins didn't just become a Navy SEAL. He became one of the toughest endurance athletes in the world, breaking records and barriers alike. And today, he speaks to millions, not because he was gifted, but because he refused to let excuses define his life. His story is proof that discipline can transform anyone. Yellow circle. So how can you start building this unshakable discipline in your own life? We'll explore the habits, mindset shifts, and daily actions that build inner strength, one choice at a time. So, what's the real lesson here? It doesn't matter how you feel. What matters is whether you have the discipline to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. That's the truth most people avoid, because it's uncomfortable. But comfort never builds character. And if you're waiting for motivation to magically arrive, you may end up waiting forever. The key isn't to chase motivation. It's to create discipline. Start simple. First, set a clear schedule, and stick to it. Not just on the days when you feel good, but especially on the days when everything inside you screams to quit. Structure builds momentum. Consistency builds confidence. Second, eliminate the excuses. Cut off the little voices that whisper, "Just one more episode," or "You can do it tomorrow." Don't let your emotions dictate your actions. Emotions are unpredictable. Discipline is a decision. Third, remind yourself daily, you are in control. Not your past. Not your fear. Not your laziness. You. Discipline is the bridge that takes you from where you are to where you want to be, and no one else can cross it for you. Now it's your turn. Have you ever fought through laziness or procrastination by leaning on discipline instead of motivation? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs today. Let's grow together, step by step, habit by habit. Step 4. Take responsibility. Ask yourself honestly, are you truly in control of your life? Or do you often feel like a victim of fate? Do you find yourself blaming the world when things go wrong, blaming the economy, your past, other people, or circumstances beyond your control? If so, it's time for a mindset shift. Because the process of rebuilding yourself can only begin the moment you accept full responsibility for your life. The Stoics taught this centuries ago. We may not be able to control what happens to us, but we always control how we respond. And that response, it shapes the direction of our lives, far more than the events themselves. One of the most common traps people fall into is giving away their power. We let old wounds hold us back. We let society's expectations silence our instincts. We let fear and failure shape the story we tell ourselves. But here's the truth, if you don't take control of your life, someone else will. Look at the life of Nelson Mandela. He was imprisoned for 27 years, years most would consider lost. He was stripped of freedom, youth, opportunity. But even in confinement, Mandela didn't become a victim of his circumstances. Instead of drowning in resentment, he chose to rise. He used those years behind bars not to wither, but to learn. To read. To reflect. To fortify his mind and spirit. When he finally walked out of prison, he did not emerge bitter. He emerged as a beacon of leadership, forgiveness, and transformation. Mandela had every reason to blame the world, to carry anger until the end of his life. But he chose a different path. He chose ownership. He took responsibility not just for his actions, but for his mindset. Yellow circle. So how do we follow that example? How do we start taking full ownership, even when life feels unfair? In next part, we'll uncover how radical responsibility becomes the key to lasting freedom and true inner strength. Nelson Mandela's greatest strength wasn't just his endurance, it was his ability to choose his response. He transformed pain into motivation, and turned failure into fuel. That is the spirit of Stoicism. Life will hand you things you cannot control, your childhood, your past mistakes, the wounds you've carried for years. But clinging to blame doesn't heal you, it traps you in a cycle of bitterness, silently draining your inner power. And here's something many misunderstand, taking responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. You can't always control how others treat you. But you can control your reaction. An insult doesn't have to steal your peace. A failure doesn't have to break you, it can refine you, shape you, make you wiser. Let me ask you this. Who do you want to be in 5 years? If you can't answer that, it might be a sign that you've surrendered control. Because those who take ownership of their lives don't just wait for the future, they build it. They don't float aimlessly, reacting to whatever comes their way. They move with intention. They wake up with clarity. They put time and energy into shaping the best version of themselves, not someday, but starting today. So ask yourself. Am I being guided by purpose or pulled by the past? Am I living on autopilot, or making conscious decisions each day? Am I truly working to become someone better, or just hoping things improve on their own? Your answers will tell you if you're truly on the path to rebuilding yourself, or just standing still. Because here's the truth, your life is not written by your past. You are not your old mistakes. You are not society's labels. At any moment, you can choose to change. You can reclaim your story, but only if you're willing to take responsibility and take action. Real freedom isn't about living without limits. It's about mastering yourself within those limits. And once you take control, you'll realize, rebuilding your life isn't just a personal option, it's your mission. So now, I'll ask you again. Are you ready to take full responsibility for your life? Step 5. Keep your faith strong. Faith is more than belief, it's the quiet strength that lights your way, when the path ahead is covered in shadows. In the journey of rebuilding yourself, there will be nights filled with doubt, mornings when you feel lost, and days when giving up feels easier than going on. But remember this. It's in your darkest moments that faith becomes your brightest ally. Faith reminds you why you started. It tells you that even if progress feels slow, your steps still matter. And it whispers, keep going, when everything inside you wants to quit. Self-development is never a solo journey. It's shaped by the people you choose to walk beside you. Not everyone is meant to come along, and not everyone will understand your path. But that doesn't mean you need to surround yourself only with those who think like you. We'll explore how to strengthen your inner circle, and how surrounding yourself with truth, challenge, and faith can guide you through even the most difficult chapters of transformation. The people who truly matter in your life are not just the ones who agree with you, they're the ones who challenge you, stretch your thinking, and help you see beyond your own limitations. Imagine a mountaineer preparing to scale a dangerous, unfamiliar peak. If he's surrounded only by those who always agree, who play it safe and never question the route, he may never find the most effective, or most rewarding, path forward. But a companion who asks tough questions, analyzes the terrain, and dares to suggest bolder alternatives might help him reach heights he never dreamed possible. Life is the same. The companions you choose should not only offer comfort in difficult times, but also challenge you to grow. They may disagree with you. They might question your decisions. But if they genuinely want you to rise, they'll push you, not to break you, but to strengthen you. True relationships aren't just about what you receive. They're equally about what you give. If you want to attract people who uplift and support you, start by being that person for someone else. Relationships thrive on mutual effort. What you invest in others often comes back tenfold. Think about someone you've helped, maybe during their lowest moment. Perhaps you encouraged them when they were ready to give up. Maybe you simply listened, showing them they weren't alone. Those moments aren't just gestures, they're the seeds of powerful bonds. Such connections create an ecosystem of mutual growth. They ensure that when your own storm comes, you won't be left standing alone. So choose your companions with intention. Walk with people who challenge you and cheer for you. The right relationships will elevate you. The wrong ones will anchor you in place. The wisdom lies in knowing the difference. But remember this, rebuilding yourself isn't supposed to be easy. It's not glamorous. It's not quick. And it's definitely not for those who chase instant results. This path will test you. You'll fail. You'll question yourself. Some days, progress will feel invisible, like you're climbing but not gaining any height. But that's the nature of the process. Just like physical training, you can't expect results after 1 week at the gym. It's not the loud, dramatic efforts that create change, it's the quiet, consistent ones. It's the 1% improvements repeated over time. Let's say you want to learn a new language. If you wait until you're motivated, you might only study once every few weeks. But if you commit, 30 minutes a day, rain or shine, by the end of the year, you'll look back in awe at how far you've come. Success doesn't bloom from occasional sprints. It grows from discipline in the daily grind. And part of that grind? Saying no to distractions. Choosing focus over comfort. While others sleep in, you show up. While others party, you study. While others settle, you climb. That's what separates those who break through from those who stay stuck. We'll break down how to sustain that long-term mindset, and how to build a system that keeps you moving forward, even when progress feels invisible. The most powerful shift you can make in your journey of transformation is this: fall in love with the process, not just the result. When you fixate only on the finish line, you set yourself up for frustration. Progress feels slow. Success feels far away. And when instant results don't come, giving up becomes tempting. But if you learn to cherish the climb, the early mornings, the small wins, the quiet improvements, then every step becomes meaningful. You'll stop asking, "Am I there yet?" and start saying, "Look how far I've come." Because life doesn't throw challenges your way to defeat you, it does so to test you. To ask, do you truly want what you're chasing? Perseverance isn't about being perfect or never falling. It's about rising again and again, no matter how many times life knocks you down. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the obstacle is not in the way. It is the way. When you train your mind to see every challenge as an opportunity, every failure as feedback, you become unstoppable. Not because life is easier, but because your mindset is stronger. Now that we've explored the importance of unshakable faith on the path of self-reconstruction, the question is: what are the core lessons from this journey, and how can you apply them in real life? Because insight without action fades quickly. That's why in the next section, we'll distill everything into clear, powerful Stoic principles you can carry with you, not just today, but for the rest of your life. Step 6. Rebuild yourself. Rebuilding yourself isn't simply about getting past failure. It's about retraining your mind to welcome challenge as a necessary part of life. You don't wait for ideal conditions. You build resilience in the storms. Stoicism teaches us that strength isn't given, it's forged. Not by circumstances, but by the way you choose to respond to them. Every day gives you a new opportunity to be reborn, wiser, calmer, more disciplined. Look at the greatest minds in history. Can you name one person who reached greatness without stumbling first? Take Thomas Edison, for example. He failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. But he didn't call them failures. He famously said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work." The difference between those who rise and those who quit isn't how many times they fall, it's how they view the fall. If you see each setback as a teacher, you'll never be defeated. You're not failing. You're discovering. You're learning the right way forward. And in that process, don't forget the power of gratitude. It doesn't just shift your focus to what's good, it brings peace, even in chaos. Look at Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who faced wars, betrayal, and disease. Yet every day, he practiced gratitude. He didn't let power harden him or hardship break him. Instead, he trained his mind, every day, to see the beauty in life, even when the world around him was falling apart. Now, we'll pull together the most essential Stoic principles, so you can rebuild yourself with clarity, courage, and consistency. Get ready to turn wisdom into action. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius would often pause to reflect, not just on his hardships, but on his blessings. He reminded himself of the teachers who shaped his character, the moments of clarity that revealed virtue, and even the challenges that sharpened his inner strength. That's what real gratitude is about. It's not pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing value even in adversity. It's about saying, "This pain is here to teach me something." Because here's a powerful truth: you are a product of your environment. If you want to grow, heal, and become stronger, you need to be intentional about the company you keep. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not those who drain your energy or pull you back into old patterns. But even with the best support, you must do the work. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's not a feeling that just appears one morning. Confidence is earned, through action. If you wait until you feel confident to begin, you'll never start. But when you start before you feel ready, when you act in spite of doubt, that's when confidence is built, brick by brick. Want to become stronger? Then practice patience. Endure the small discomforts now to prepare for the larger storms ahead. Growth isn't always about big leaps. Often, it's in the quiet moments of endurance that your character is forged. One of the most powerful tools to train your inner world is meditation. Even just a few minutes a day, sitting still, observing your thoughts without judgment, can reshape how you relate to stress, anger, or anxiety. Meditation teaches you that you are not your emotions. You are the one who observes them. And that realization gives you space, power, freedom. This journey of rebuilding yourself, it's not fast. It's not flashy. And it certainly doesn't happen overnight. But lasting change, that kind of transformation is slow, steady, and sacred. Just like training your body takes repetition, building a resilient mind takes daily mental conditioning. Don't stop just because the results aren't visible yet. Often, the most meaningful progress happens quietly, beneath the surface. The thoughts you feed yourself every day are seeds. Over time, they grow into beliefs. So plant the right ones. Use affirmations. Say things like, I have the strength to overcome this challenge. I am becoming wiser, calmer, stronger every day. You might not believe them at first. But repetition rewires the mind. With time, these words will become your truth. Your identity. Socrates once said, I know that I know nothing. And that mindset, the humility of a lifelong learner, is essential on the path of self-reconstruction. Learning isn't limited to books. It lives in your experiences, your mistakes, and the people around you. The moment you think, you've learned enough is the moment you stop growing. Because here's a reality we all face, everyone, at some point, must rebuild themselves. Maybe you've lost something, or someone. Maybe you've failed, changed paths, or hit rock bottom. These moments don't define you. How you rise from them does. So ask yourself. What made you stronger? What tools helped you climb out? What mindset carried you forward? Share your story in the comments below. Someone out there is watching this right now, waiting for a sign to keep going. Maybe your words will be that sign. In next part, we'll uncover the last core Stoic principle, never stop learning. Because growth is not a destination, it's a way of living. As we explored in the last section, rebuilding yourself means, more than pushing past pain, it means choosing to grow, even when progress is invisible. And a key part of that growth is often overlooked, the ongoing education of your mind and spirit. The journey of becoming whole again isn't just about physical strength or surviving adversity. It's also about mental clarity and spiritual refinement. Because real transformation happens not just in action, but in understanding. Learning is not a destination. It's a lifelong flow, a quiet, steady stream that nurtures growth, and builds inner freedom. When you commit to learning, you're not just sharpening your skills, you're training your mindset to stay resilient, when life throws the unexpected your way. This truth is reflected beautifully in the words of Epictetus. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Greatness, like Rome, is not built overnight. There will be days when you feel stuck. Days when it feels like all your efforts are going nowhere. You might even feel like giving up. But don't. Because even when results aren't immediate, every small effort is part of your transformation. Like a sculptor working stone, each stroke may seem minor, but over time, a masterpiece emerges. Remember, learning isn't a race against anyone. It's a deeply personal path. When you stop comparing your chapter to someone else's highlight reel, you begin to appreciate just how far you've come. You begin to see your growth with clarity, not self-doubt. And yes, distractions will come. Temptations will whisper in your ear, offering shortcuts and easier ways. But only by anchoring your vision in long-term goals, can you create something lasting. True success demands patience, not speed. Your journey is yours alone. Someone else's progress isn't your measuring stick. Their spotlight does not diminish your inner flame. It's easy to start strong when motivation is high. But discipline is what carries you when that spark fades. Anyone can move forward when the road is smooth. But it's in the uphill climb, in the hard moments, that real strength is born. Every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. Every moment you choose persistence over comfort, you're reinforcing your mental armor. You're shaping a stronger, more capable version of yourself. One of the most powerful examples of this truth is Nelson Mandela. 27 years in prison could have broken his spirit. But instead of giving in to anger or despair, he chose something remarkable. He used that time to grow. He read. He learned. He expanded his mind while confined in a cell. So when he walked free, he wasn't just a man who survived injustice. He had become a living symbol of strength, wisdom, and unshakable purpose. If Mandela could turn confinement into clarity, what excuse do we have not to do the same? Working hard is essential. But working smart is even more powerful. You can pour hours into effort, but without clear direction, you're just running in circles. True progress demands more than willpower, it requires a plan. So define your goals. Break them into actionable steps. Measure your growth and refine your path. Because learning isn't just about absorbing knowledge, it's about applying wisdom to real life. As we said before, true growth isn't about speed, it's about direction, discipline, and the quiet strength to keep learning every day. And now, as we close this journey, we turn to one final truth: real transformation is born in the grind. A seed does not become a towering tree overnight. It battles through darkness, pushes through soil, and grows slowly toward the light. Success is no different. It's the result of steady, unseen effort. If you don't see results today, don't assume you're standing still. Growth often happens beneath the surface, far from the eyes of others. So embrace the slow pace. Because in the long run, patience is not just a virtue, it's the deciding factor in how far you'll go. And while learning fills the mind, belief fuels the heart. Believing in your potential changes how you move through the world. When you believe you can grow, you behave like it, you persist longer, recover faster, and rise stronger. That belief becomes your compass when things get blurry. But make no mistake, there will be moments when you question everything. The silence. The setbacks. The criticism. All of it can shake your confidence. In those moments, don't forget what you've already overcome. You've survived storms before. You've climbed out of places you once thought you'd never escape. Don't let a hard moment erase the progress of your entire journey. Close your eyes and imagine yourself 1 year from now. Or 5. Stronger. Wiser. More grounded. More powerful. That version of you is not a fantasy. It's a reflection of the choices you make today, the choice to keep learning, to keep showing up, to keep growing. Never stop learning. Each lesson is a brick. Each habit is a thread. And slowly, you are weaving the fabric of the person you are becoming. Step 8, embrace the grind. It's still dark outside. The air is freezing. The world hasn't woken up yet, but you have. You clench your fists. You meet your own gaze in the mirror. You're tired. Worn. Maybe even discouraged. But you're not giving up. Because today is not special. It's not flashy. But it's days like this, ordinary, relentless, exhausting, that shape who you are. This is the grind. The repetitive, unglamorous, unforgiving rhythm of consistency. It's not the dramatic moments that lead to greatness. It's the mornings when you don't want to show up, but you do. It's the days you want to quit, but choose to move anyway. Everyone wants to evolve. Everyone wants to change. So why do only a few make it? Discipline. Motivation may get you started. But motivation is fickle. Discipline. That's your backbone. That's what lifts you when everything else collapses. Discipline is what helps you break free from laziness. It carries you through failure. It keeps you focused when comfort tries to seduce you. Even when you're tired. Even when no one sees you. Even when you could take the easy way out. Discipline stays. The Stoics understood this well. No man is free who is not master of himself, Epictetus said. Because if you can't control your actions, you can't shape your destiny. So if you're serious about rebuilding yourself, don't rely on emotions. Rely on discipline. Build it. Train it. Hold on to it, especially when no one is watching. Before we close, there's one final reminder that deserves its own spotlight: your environment shapes your evolution. Take a good, honest look at the people around you. Are they lifting you up, or dragging you down? Whether you realize it or not, your environment molds your mindset, fuels your habits, and ultimately shapes the life you build. If you're constantly surrounded by people who complain, settle, and make excuses, you will slowly absorb that energy. You'll begin to shrink your dreams to fit their comfort zones. But surround yourself with disciplined, driven individuals, people who are actively pursuing their growth, and you'll feel the urge to rise, just to keep pace. Because growth is contagious. The right people won't just cheer for you. They'll challenge you. They'll call you out when you make excuses. They'll push you when you get too comfortable. They'll remind you of your potential when you forget it yourself. But here's the hard truth: not everyone is meant to walk with you forever. Some people were only meant to be part of an earlier chapter. And that's okay. Letting go doesn't mean hatred. It means honoring your own growth. It means loving yourself enough to protect your peace and your progress. So if someone consistently drains your energy, plants seeds of doubt, or pulls you back into your old patterns, have the courage to walk away. Instead of clinging to what no longer serves you, seek out people who reflect your values. Not just success, but integrity, humility, and kindness. These are the companions who won't just help you go faster, they'll help you go further. Because no one climbs mountains alone. A mentor, a guide, even a single role model, can save you years of struggle. A great teacher isn't just someone who gives you tools, they ignite your belief. They hold you together in moments you feel like falling apart. So pay close attention to the people you admire. How do they think? What habits do they live by? What principles help them stay steady when life gets turbulent? Watch. Learn. Apply. You don't grow by building a circle of people who think and act exactly like you. That's comfortable, but it's not transformation. You grow by inviting diverse strengths, by listening to perspectives that stretch your understanding, by walking beside people who force you to think harder and aim higher. This is why the most successful people surround themselves with greatness, not just in skill, but in character. Each person in their network brings something unique. And that diversity becomes their strength. So yes, you'll doubt yourself. Yes, there will be days you want to quit. But look around. Every drop of sweat, every uncomfortable conversation, every small win, it's all proof that you're moving forward. That you're becoming who you were meant to be. And you don't have to do it alone. Just make sure you walk with those who make you better. If this message resonated with you, share it. Leave a comment below. Tag someone who challenges you in all the right ways. And if you're ready to go further, not just faster, surround yourself with the people who see your highest potential and won't let you settle for less. Until next time, stay focused. Stay disciplined. And above all, stay grounded in who you're becoming. When you've built a foundation of unshakable discipline, developed the right mindset, and surrounded yourself with people who challenge and uplift you, something profound happens. You realize you're not just rebuilding your life. You're reinventing yourself into something stronger. Something unstoppable. But before you step forward into that new future, there's one more thing you must do. You must turn around. And face the broken pieces you've left behind. The wounds. The regrets. The scars that still echo quietly beneath the surface. Will you face them? Or will you continue to hide behind distraction, denial, and delay? Get ready. Because in this next chapter, we'll go deeper. Into the pain, into the past. And show you how to turn that pain into fuel. How to rebuild yourself from the shattered pieces, piece by piece. Step 9, acknowledge your broken pieces. Do you dare to truly look at yourself when everything is falling apart? When the dreams you once held so tightly slip through your fingers. When you lose something, or someone, you thought you couldn't live without. When failure hits, hard and fast, and your confidence begins to crack. Most people run. They pretend. They numb the pain. They bury it. But here's the truth. You cannot rebuild anything until you acknowledge what's been broken. Every single one of us has cracks. Mistakes. Moments we wish we could erase. Wounds we haven't yet healed. But pain alone doesn't define weakness. What sets the strong apart isn't whether they've been hurt. It's how they face that hurt. Imagine an artist sculpting a statue. If he refuses to see the cracks in the stone, how can he ever refine it? You are the artist. And your life is the sculpture. If you keep denying your flaws, your past, your patterns, you're only building on a lie. Instead, face the truth. You are not perfect. And that's okay. Accepting your brokenness isn't surrender, it's step 1. It's the laying of a new foundation, one built on honesty and courage. So the next time you're tempted to ask, why is this happening to me? Ask instead, what can I learn from this? What is this showing me about myself? What must I change to grow beyond this point? That's stoicism in motion. Not about suppressing your emotions, but about learning to respond with clarity instead of chaos. You can't control life, but you can control your reaction to it. And while that truth might sting, it's the only truth that will make you unbreakable. Pretending everything is fine might protect your image, but it delays your growth. No one can rebuild you from the outside. Only you can decide when it's time to rise. And real change doesn't come from empty affirmations or fleeting bursts of motivation. It comes from a choice. A decision made deep within you. That you're ready to stop running, start facing, and truly evolve. Only when you acknowledge what's incomplete can you begin to improve it. You can't heal what you pretend doesn't hurt. You can't change what you refuse to see. Just look at Marcus Aurelius. He didn't become wise through comfort. He didn't become strong through ease. He became a Stoic icon because he faced failure, loss, and hardship. And used it as fuel. He didn't run from pain. He studied it. He sat with it. He grew from it. Because every crack within you, it can become a window, a passage for strength, clarity, and light. What you've been through doesn't define you. How you rise from it does. And if you've made it this far, if you've been brave enough to stare into the mirror and see the broken pieces for what they are, then you're already halfway to change. So don't fear your flaws. Don't hide your wounds. They are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you're still alive, still fighting, still capable of becoming something greater. As we conclude this journey of self-reconstruction, take a moment to reflect on what you've learned. Remember, life isn't random. It's not a mess of disconnected events. It is a purposeful process of transformation. And no one rises from the ashes untouched. We all break. We all fall. But those very fractures, the ones that once held you back, can become the foundation you stand on. You can't change the past, but you can choose how it shapes your future. So stay committed to your vision. Let it guide you like a lighthouse through the fog. Don't rely on fleeting bursts of motivation. Rely on discipline. Because motivation is emotional. Discipline is a decision. And it's that decision, day after day, that will carry you through the storms. Yellow circle if you're truly ready to embrace this path, comment below. I rebuild myself. Say it not for anyone else, but for you. A commitment. A declaration. A new beginning. If this video gave you strength, like it. If it sparks something in you, share it. And if you're serious about transforming your life, subscribe, and stay connected. Because this isn't the end. Your journey of growth is just getting started. Watch the next video on your screen. Keep learning. Keep rising. Keep rebuilding. And always remember. Stay grounded. Stay resilient. Stay stoic.